Welcome back to my channel, YouTube. Today I'm going to talk about the building of my camper van. I'm going to talk a little bit about the materials that I use to build the camper van. I tried to keep the costs low. Also, I'm going to talk a little bit about why I built the camper van. And I'm going to talk a little bit about all the things that I built inside the camper van. These camper vans, anybody could build one. There's hundreds of channels on YouTube talking about camper vans and camper van builds. Anybody could do this. A college student could build this. A retired old dude like me could do this. Anybody could build a camper van, and you can go on YouTube and find hundreds of videos about that. But today we're going to talk about my camper van. So let's go ahead and take a look. I will break up my building videos into different parts. The first part will be walls, insulation, floor, and ceiling. The second part will be counter space and storage cabinet. The third part will be couch, bench, bed building. And then the last part will be the electrical, television, and things like that with my 12-volt batteries. Now I might have some follow-up videos and parts that go after that, but that'll be the main videos for my building series. Hello, my name is Doug. I'm a retired school teacher. I built a camper van out of an old Xfinity service van. I'm going to show you how I did it and take you on my adventures, camping, fishing, and going to baseball games. And I'm going to try to show you how to save some money. Welcome to my van channel. Welcome to the Holiday 10. So you may be wondering, why build a camper van? Well, I got tired of camping in a tent, and at one point I even built myself a camper makeshift on the back of my pickup truck, and that was like setting up a tent too. So then I started watching van channels on YouTube, and most importantly, Van City Van Life. So I started renting a U-Haul van to go camping, and I enjoyed it. So I like to take my van to the beach, and I like to go camping in it, and I like to take it to baseball games. A lot of people may be thinking, well, why not just buy a motorhome or a camp trailer? Well, those are very expensive, and I'm on a retirement budget. Plus, you can't park a trailer or a motorhome in the places that I can park my van. I can park my van anywhere. It looks like a service van, so it really fits my needs and my budget. So when I first bought this van, I had to gut and clean the van before I could build anything. It was an old service van for Xfinity or Comcast, and I had to take out all the metal shelving, and I had to do a real good cleaning inside the van before I could build anything. I had to take out the old rubber mat flooring, and there was insulation under the floor that I had to take out, so I had to do all that first. So to start with, on my floor, I insulated the floor a little bit, but I didn't go crazy. I just used strips of 1/2-inch foam board in the low spaces of the truck bed, and I taped it down with some insulation tape. And then to keep costs low, I used just 3/8-inch plywood, and I used the old rubber mat as a template to cut out the plywood to put on the floor, and I bolted that through the bed. And then I just covered it with a piece of cheap carpet that I got at Home Depot for $13. I know a lot of people go crazy with thick plywood on the floor, but I wanted to keep the weight down. And a lot of people go crazy with laminate and hardwood flooring and things like that. I wanted to keep costs low, so I just went with a cheap piece of carpet. One of the first things I did in insulation and when I was building the walls was that I put up this sound deadening material. It's called Kilomat. You can get it off of Amazon. It comes in square sheets, and it helps deaden the sound. It also helps insulate your van. After that, I got a roll of regular insulation, and I stuffed all those little cubby holes that you see in the side walls of a van. And then I tried to stuff as much in as possible. I had to go ahead and put up some lumber on the walls for the ribbing of the van or the framing. And then I just used a 1/2-inch styrofoam board you get at the Home Depot. My first camping trip out, I just put blankets or paint tarps up on the wall. And my first trip, you can see in this picture, it was just a paint tarp. But I put this half-inch foam board on the ceiling, and I used some insulation tape. It's a foil tape you get at Home Depot. This foam board is relatively cheap. You can get it at Lowe's or Home Depot. And I put it all on the ceiling and as much as I could on the walls. I didn't go crazy with insulation. I live in California and it doesn't get extremely cold. It does get hot in the summer, but this seems to retain the heat in the winter really well. My van gets really warm in the winter. I used some small 2x2s and 1x2s to help make some framing on the wall, and I used some self-tapping screws to screw it into the metal. And then I used a regular little small Luan or door skin for all the walls and ceiling of my van. It's a very thin layered skin, or very thin layered plywood. And then I used caulk. Go ahead and caulk all the joints. The joints, they sometimes are uneven, but if you get caulk and you kind of get some putty or some spackle, you can even them out. And then after that, I got some sprayed texture that I textured the wall. It's a knockdown spray that you spray on the wall before you paint, just like you would do in your house. And it turned out fairly well. It's not real expensive. It's a cheap way to go. I didn't want to go crazy with all the paneling and the fur strips that people put in their vans. After I got up the walls, like I said, I put the knockdown spray on there to texture the walls like you'd see in a regular house. And then I just used regular semi-gloss white paint like you'd see in a house. I tried to make it as homey as possible. I wanted it to feel like a hotel room so that I could get my wife to go with me. The only way I could sell this idea on her to go camping with me and stay in the van was to tell her it was like a hotel room. And she still won't go anywhere with me in the van. But those are my walls. I built my walls out of this type of wood. It's called Luan. A lot of people call it door skin. My dad, when I was growing up, always called it door skin. Basically, it's just a very thin piece of plywood that you would resurface on a door in your house. That's why they call it door skin. But all the walls and the ceiling and everything is made out of this very lightweight Luan or door skin. Okay, so when I built the walls, I textured all the walls with the same knockdown wall surface texture that you would put on your walls in your house. I wanted it to have more of a homey feel, like it's a regular house room or a hotel room, hence the name Holiday 10. So these are the walls in my camper van. You can see that there's texture on here. That's the knockdown that I put on the Luan when I put it up on the wall. And then I put a nice piece of trim. This is on my driver's side wall right here, right by the bed. And I painted it with regular old semi-gloss house paint. And the ceiling, I've textured that as well. And I just have it screwed in with these wood screws, and all the seams have caulk in the seams. So anytime I had to join or make a joint, I used caulk, and this one looks kind of rough. That was a tough seam right there, but all the seams have caulk in them, and it's all textured. I asked my wife, what should we name the YouTube channel? And since she knew that I was trying to make it look like a hotel room or feel like a hotel room, she named my channel the Holiday 10. So this is an extra piece of insulation that I have in my garage. You can see that it's just a half-inch foam board. I get this at Home Depot. It's relatively inexpensive, and this is an extra piece that I have left over. These are the wood screws that I use to screw the Luan to the framing of my walls. They're Tex. You get them at Home Depot or Lowe's. They're 3/4 inch screws. They look like this. They're very sharp and they go in very nicely, and they hold the walls together perfectly. And they have flat heads that kind of make it go flat against the wall. So these are the screws that I use to attach the framing to the metal parts of the wall in my van. They're called self-tapping screws, and you can get them at Home Depot or Lowe's. And basically you just have to get the attachment that goes to your drill, and they tap and drill themselves right into the metal walls of your van. And then you attach those frames to it, and then you can attach your Luan or any other type of wall material to your framing. But these are self-tapping screws. They drill themselves into the metal of the van. Well, YouTube, that's it for this video. Hopefully you liked the video. Hopefully you got something out of it. Hopefully you learned something. If you didn't, you didn't. But I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and hit that like button. Those likes, they help my algorithm out a lot. So go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like I said before, I'm gonna break these videos, the building part, into more than one part. This was the first part today, just walls, ceiling, floor, and insulation. And then I'll continue with the other videos coming up next. So once again, thanks for watching my video. If you missed my earlier videos about camping at Kennedy Meadows and camping at Veterans Memorial Park in Monterey, and about going to the beach in Half Moon Bay and going to the beach in Monterey, and also about doing some stealth camping for some Oakland A's baseball games, you can go back and look for those videos on YouTube. You can subscribe to my channel, find all my other videos.